What's up, YouTube? Today I want to talk to you guys about a very important topic that I don't think is touched upon enough in the fitness community, and that is programming. Particularly the biggest mistake that I see all lifters doing in the gym, and that's that they're over programming. See, right now in YouTube fitness, we have maximalist type trends when it comes to our programming. We're throwing in all the exercise that we can into our sessions, whether that be things like farmer's carries, deadlifts, rows, push ups, and now we have a program that is quite frankly too large. Because once you realize that you're incorporating every single movement pattern, every single angle, every single joint and muscle function, now you have a program that has 50 lifts. And while you might think that you can recover and adapt from that, over time, what you realize is that you're actually doing damage to your body as opposed to having a more minimalistic type setup that allows you to focus on certain muscle groups and really get the most out of your session. And so, one of the things I want to bring to you guys today is the idea that you don't have to do everything in the gym. What you need to do is identify your weaknesses or the things that you really want to develop and focus on honing those. And as a byproduct of focusing on the things that you lack or the things that you want to accomplish, you're going to find that you're going to be able to develop those other areas as well, right? So instead of doing push-ups, bench press, flies, and your 13th chest exercise, maybe pick 3 or 4 chest exercises according to the thing that you're trying to develop, right? Like if you want to get really good at bench pressing, you have 4 different variations of some sort of a horizontal press like a bench press. It doesn't all have to be with a barbell. It could be a barbell bench press, a dumbbell bench press, and then you have some sort of an isolation movement in there as well, like the fly or like with the dumbbells as well. It doesn't have to be like a pec deck. Now all of a sudden your program isn't 50 lifts. You're really just focused on getting the max out of that. The same thing goes with squats, right? It doesn't have to be, I'm going to have my barbell squat, I'm going to have my Smith machine squat, I'm going to have my leg press, belt squat, I don't know what else, right? What you realize at a certain point in lifting is that you're going to get to a point where you can't just take your volume and throw out whatever exercises. You can't have all these exercises and you can't have all these sets. You really have to focus on, because of diminishing returns, really, you have to focus on what you can get better at. Because there's only so much time you can allocate to the gym, and there's only so much resources you can give to your training. Now, does that mean that I think you should only be doing overhead press, squat, deadlift, and what's the other one that's very common in starting strength? Overhead press, squat, deadlift, and bench press. Do I think that these are the only 4 lifts you should be doing in your training? Hell no, I don't think that. I think the more versatile your training is, the more variability you have, the more you're going to be able to adapt to different training stimulus and get a more potent training stimulus. But really, what I'm hazarding you guys from doing and really just warning you guys is going down the rabbit hole of, okay, more is better, therefore I'm going to keep adding exercises, because there is a point where you're going to add exercises, and because your program is now so big, because you have so many variations of exercises, they're going to take away from the potential you would have if you just focused on the ones that really resonate with you. Now, I would advocate that you guys choose exercises that work for your body and your build. And most often, those are not the exercises that people are performing. I would say there aren't many people that can get away with doing barbell bench presses, barbell back squats, and conventional deadlifts in the traditional fashion, day in and day out in the gym. Even just like once a week type frequency may be too much for those lifts, right? So I would really emphasize, like, your body well, and if those lifts work for you, you can use them. But if you're like me or one of the numerous amount of bodybuilders that I know, you're going to be wanting to utilize movements that are less stressful on the joints. Not all of them are going to be barbell lifts, and a lot of them are going to be unilateral in fashion, or cable based, or machine based. And those lifts are going to allow you to get more out of your training because they're not just hammering the joints. But that's a topic for a different video. I just wanted to make a really short video here about not overdoing your programming, because you're going to shoot yourself in the foot. You're going to stall and plateau. You're not going to adapt to the few lifts that you could do and get the best stimulus out of. And at the end of the day, you want to get the most out of your training in a set period of time. If you can get the gains that I'm trying to advocate for within 3 or 6 months, that's going to be way better than you having 50 lifts in your programming and extending that time period to 2 years. Why extend something that's going to inevitably take so much more time? That's all for today. Please subscribe to the channel if you're not. Hit that like button, and I'll catch you guys next time.